What if the moment you stop chasing love, touch, or validation, you don't crumble, you detonate? Imagine a woman, conditioned to crave desire's fleeting high, who one day slams the door on it all. No more swipes, no more late-night texts, no more bending to fit someone else's mold. Society calls it madness, loneliness, a waste. But Carl Jung knew better. This isn't surrender. It's a rebellion so raw, so primal, it rewrites your very existence. When you silence your body's hungers, you don't fade into shadow. You unleash a soul so fierce it burns through illusions, awakens ancient instincts, and births a power no one can cage. This is the forbidden truth the world doesn't want you to know. A woman who masters her silence becomes an untamed force, and the universe trembles at her awakening. The lie we're sold, silence equals death. In a world addicted to instant gratification, dating apps, casual flings, the endless scroll for validation, we're fed a lie. A woman without desire is broken, empty, irrelevant. Society screams that your worth lies in being wanted, in the heat of another's gaze, in the chaos of connection. Pause that chase, and you're labeled defective, lonely, or worse, forgotten. But Carl Jung saw through this illusion with piercing clarity. Silence isn't absence, it's a crucible where your soul is forged anew. When you choke off the noise of fleeting passions, something ancient roars to life. Your repressed energy doesn't vanish, it transmutes, surging inward like a wildfire, sparking vivid dreams, razor-sharp intuition, and a clarity that cuts through deception like a blade. Why do so many women, after months or years of abstinence, report a spiritual explosion? It's no coincidence, it's a cosmic recalibration. When you starve the body of superficial touch, it turns inward, excavating buried treasures, forgotten strengths, untapped wisdom, the wild feminine archetype Jung called the anima. This isn't just celibacy, it's alchemy. You're not abstaining, you're reclaiming. You stop seeking crumbs of affection, and start cultivating a fire that burns brighter than any lover's gaze. This is where the world begins to fear you. Why? Because you're no longer a pawn in its game. You see through the emotional traps, the shallow bonds, the masks of love that bind more than they free. You're unpredictable, untouchable, a mystery who answers only to herself. The shadow's call, facing the void. Jung called this facing the shadow, confronting the parts of yourself you've buried to be desired, to fit in, to avoid the terrifying void. For years, you may have played the role, the lover, the muse, the one who bends to be chosen. You've dimmed your light to avoid scaring others, traded depth for approval, silenced your instincts to keep the peace. But when you step away from desire, those buried parts rise, demanding to be seen. Step into that void, and it's not empty. It's a cathedral of self-discovery, where self-love ignites with such ferocity it incinerates everything inauthentic. This journey isn't gentle, it's a gauntlet. It begins with a seismic jolt, a raw unease that hits like a thunderclap. You pull back from familiar comforts, the warmth of another's touch, the buzz of being wanted, and the world turns alien. Doubts swarm like vultures. Am I crazy? Wasting my youth? Doomed to solitude? Old flames resurface, easy hookups dangle like traps, and society screams that a woman's worth lies in being desired, always in motion, always conquering. Friends nudge. Get back out there. Family frets over your isolation. They don't see it, you're not isolating. You're immersing, diving into your depths while others cling to the surface. Jung saw this as the individuation crucible, the ego's panic as the soul seizes control. The crucible, enduring the dark night. This is the test, the symbolic journey only the brave endure. Jung called it the dark night of the soul, where the ego fights to cling to control, but the soul whispers, let go. The discomfort is brutal, an invisible anguish that gnaws from within. You question everything, your sanity, your choices, your worth. Society's voice is deafening. A woman's time is short. Don't waste it. Be desired. Be chosen. Temptations claw back, old lovers texting, easy flings beckoning, the siren call of familiar pain. Friends misread your silence as defeat. Family urges you to stop hiding. But you're not hiding, you're diving. Most buckle here, lured back by familiar patterns, settling for lukewarm loves, convincing themselves something trumps nothing. The fear of being alone, of wasting time, of not fitting society's script, it's a powerful pull. But you, if you endure the tears, the doubt, the aching solitude, you're forged anew. The cocoon splits, revealing a warrior with wings of fire. That restlessness morphs into profound questions. Why did I need desire to feel whole? What craved another's gaze to exist? Why did I trade my essence for fleeting connection? The answers strike like lightning. Your body isn't dormant, it's in ritual, a sacred ceremony where silence becomes your superpower. The alchemy, silence becomes power. As you push deeper, the silence shifts. What felt like punishment becomes sacred ground. The restlessness organizes into questions that pierce the veil. Why did I need to be desired to feel alive? What part of me fed on external validation? What truths have I ignored to avoid being alone? These aren't just thoughts, they're revelations, each one peeling back layers of conditioning. Jung described this as the process of individuation, a radical path to wholeness where you shed the projections you cast onto others and finally see yourself. The emptiness you feared isn't absence, it's space for something authentic to be born. Memories ache differently now, not as wounds, but as clues to a greater story. Past loves, tear-soaked nights, cycles that looped without reason, they all gain meaning under a new light. Your inner self begins to read emotions as symbolic mirrors, reflecting an unconscious that's been whispering all along, drowned out by desire's noise. You discover your worth isn't tied to how much your body is wanted, but to how deeply you can hold your soul's presence in silence. A mystical force awakens, the power of a woman who no longer needs to be chosen. The untamed feminine, a force unleashed. The world fears this woman because she's whole, and wholeness is dangerous to a system built on halves. She's no longer begging for love. She is love, radiating it from a core so solid no external force can shake it. Your energy, once scattered in fleeting passions, gathers like a storm. It fuels purpose, clarity, a sense of mission that transcends the personal. Jung called this reconciling the feminine unconscious, unearthing ancient symbols buried under centuries of repression. The wild feminine archetype, the untamed instinct that doesn't need an audience, rises. You're not just surviving. You're a beacon, lighting the way for others trapped in the cycle of seeking. Your silence isn't punishment, it's a language only the brave can speak. And those who speak it understand. The body's hush is the soul's megaphone. You begin to see relationships differently, not as lifelines, but as mirrors reflecting what you've yet to integrate. The deeper you go, the more you uncover layers of conditioning, expectations to be soft, to be available, to prioritize others' needs. Jung saw these as collective archetypes, societal scripts embedded in the psyche, chaining women to roles that diminish their power. By stepping away from desire, you're not just freeing yourself, you're dismantling centuries of programming. The new consciousness, love is choice, not need. This shift births a new consciousness. You no longer rush to fill the void. You are the void, and it's sacred. You don't need applause or validation. Your presence is enough. When desire stirs again, it's not compulsive. It's deliberate, a sacred choice rooted in abundance, not lack. When love knocks, it won't find a woman starving for connection. It'll meet a queen, complete and discerning. You've clawed through the darkness, turning absences into altars, pain into wisdom. What you denied once controlled you. Now, integration sets you free. Every loss echoes as liberation, every silence as holy ground. This awakening isn't just personal, it's universal. Your journey becomes a symbol for every woman taught to depend, to distract, to diminish herself. You feel a pull to share this fire, not to lead, but to ignite. Jung called this the manifestation of the self, when the soul no longer seeks acceptance, but expression. Your losses, old loves, fragile selves, relationships where you shrank to fit, no longer sting. Their liberations answered prayers. The woman who emerges from this silence isn't returning to the world, she's becoming the world. Every step is conscious, every choice measured not by fear of solitude, but by the value of her own company. The eternal flame, a woman reborn. When your body desires again, it's not addiction, it's ritual. When love arrives, it won't complete you, it'll accompany you. Your soul is already whole. This clarity births a mission, to be a lighthouse for others, showing that the dark isn't to be feared, it's where you find yourself. Nothing is lost, everything is transmuted. Desire, once urgent, becomes choice. Pain, once a wound, becomes a scar of wisdom. You're not stepping away from love, you're learning to love from abundance, not hunger. Feel that stir within? That nameless ache, the discomfort of outgrowing old skins, the urge to retreat without knowing why. It's not weakness. It's your soul's war cry. This moment isn't random, it's a summons. If it resonates, don't snuff it out. Feed the flames. Share this truth with a sister whose body has gone quiet, unsure why. Drop a comment. How has your silence sparked your fire? Subscribe if you're ready to dive deeper, because every soul's whisper is a revolution waiting to erupt. When your body falls silent, it's not defeat. It's strategy. The soul doesn't whisper, it roars. And once you hear it, ordinary love fades to static. You're not just alive, you're a force, unconquerable, eternal, electric.